Deutsche Bank says investors increasingly prefer Bitcoin over gold as inflation hedge. Survey of millionaires finds 73% own or want to invest in crypto. And Bitcoin finds strong support in this zone, rallying all the way back up above $18,000. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here. And in today's video, we have a lot to talk about. Specifically, we have a lot of fundamentals to talk about on Bitcoin because, as you guys probably noticed, Bitcoin is getting very close to returning back to all-time high. And the big question on everyone's mind is now not when will we go back to all-time high, it's what will we do after we get there. In this video, we're going to be breaking down this question and we're going to be coming to a conclusion on where Bitcoin is expected to go over the next 2 years after we break all-time high, more than likely in the next 30 days. Guys, we're going to be going over technicals, fundamentals, on-chain analysis, and news in today's video. I think you're going to get a lot of great value out of today's video. If you do, as always, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. We're trying to hit 75,000 subscribers before Valentine's Day 2021. So hit that subscribe button. It's completely free. It doesn't cost you anything. Don't forget there's a new sale running on CT2A Bull Run 2020. It'll get you $40 off at checkout. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at CryptoJeb. But without much further ado, guys, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Before we get started, I do want to mention one of the things that makes this channel possible, and that would be Bybit. Bybit is one of my favorite exchanges, and it is the exchange I do all of my trading on, and I do it there for a good reason. They have high liquidity, high volume, great selections of coins, and since I've been in the space for over 3 years now, and I know what I'm doing, I can leverage trade on that exchange comfortably. It's something you want to make sure you're doing with experience. Now that I am experienced, I can comfortably leverage trade, and it is a great exchange to do so on. I highly encourage you guys to sign up for Bybit with the link in the description down below. It is an affiliate link, and it does help to support this channel and the operations going on behind. We have a lot of amazing things coming your way, guys. Get hyped because we have some great announcements coming up pretty soon. But let's go ahead and jump on to the chart. This zone of support right here is the topic of all of our analysis today. This zone of support starts at $17,350 and finishes at $17,550. It's $200 tall, and we have tested it many, many times in the last 3 days. Specifically, this level of support right here at $17,550, the top of that support zone is the level to pay attention to. We tested it over here, let's see, once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, maybe 6 times if you want to count that, 7 times, 8 times, 9 times, and we'll call all of that a 10th time. Bitcoin has tested this zone of support about 10 times. And if you guys remember to something that I have preached on over and over and over again from the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, that being support and resistance levels, we talked about how support and resistance levels tend to get weaker the more you test them. This support level has been tested about 10 times. Normally, that would indicate to me that Bitcoin is going to break it. However, in this case, it's a little bit different. Remember, technical analysis has to be adjusted to match the current setting. The reason I don't think it's quite as likely for Bitcoin to break this has to do with what we've done over the last 5 hours or so. If you had asked me yesterday with this downtrend right here, I would have said, yeah, Bitcoin was in a descending triangle pattern flag, and it was a little bit more than likely, not by much, that Bitcoin would break to the downside. It's still a bull pennant, so it's likely to break bullish, which it did, but nevertheless, we have broken bullish, so now we can analyze this. Bitcoin rallied right here with an engulfing bullish candlestick, which is a big deal. Bitcoin rallied this morning, putting in an engulfing bullish candlestick. You can see how the green engulfs the red candlestick. That's normally a very bullish, good sign and indicates a new uptrend forming. Then we saw green, red, and an engulfing green. So we actually saw a second engulfing green candlestick just a couple of hours ago. Not only that, guys, let's remember how big of a movement this is. Bitcoin has moved 4.5% in 6 hours. That's going to play into a point I'm going to make a little bit later with volatility, but for right now, I want to make sure you guys realize just how big of a movement that is. Right now, we're at the highest level a daily chart candlestick has ever been, specifically the candle body, has ever been since the very all-time high. Right now, our candlestick is sitting right around here. The only time a candle body has ever been this high was on these 4 days back at all-time high. We're even above this high in January of 2018, which coincides with the all-time high for Ethereum. I think it's safe to say that Bitcoin is going straight up parabolic. So when does Bitcoin go to all-time high? That's been the question on all of our minds for the last 2.5 years, but at this point, I think it's kind of a boring question, to be quite honest with you, because it could happen in 2 days, it could happen in 2 months, Bitcoin might have a correction, Bitcoin might blast through it. Point is, it's coming, and it's coming soon. So I think the more interesting question now is, where does Bitcoin go after we hit all-time high? Because it's almost inevitable that Bitcoin does now. The question now becomes, does Bitcoin reject and go into a massive bear market, or does Bitcoin, more likely, go into a huge bull market? Let's talk about that. Let's not talk about that from a technical perspective. Let's look at the fundamentals, because right now, when you're in a massive rally and Bitcoin's just going to the moon and going crazy and buying Lamborghinis and popping champagne corks like we were doing at the end of 2017, when Bitcoin is doing that, the technicals, while they are still very important, are a little bit overshadowed by the fundamentals. So let's look at those. German Deutsche Bank says investors increasingly prefer Bitcoin over gold as inflationary hedge. No, hang on a second. Side note, this is something that I have been preaching and shouting from the rooftops for months now, the fact that Bitcoin is an inflationary hedge. Bitcoin has a hard cap. It's the first time in human history that we've ever had a currency that has a perfectly limited supply. Gold doesn't even have that. Gold can be mined. It can be inflated just very, very slowly. We've never had a perfect hard cap on any commodity in the history of mankind. The only thing that made that possible were computers and technology and cryptography. That is a big deal. So it makes sense this news article is going to talk about this because, yeah, Bitcoin is a very good example of an inflationary hedge. In fact, I would argue it is the best example of an inflationary hedge in human history. I'm off topic. Well, not really, but let's get back to it. Bitcoin's appeal as an alternative store of value asset is strengthening, according to analysts at German-based investment bank Deutsche Bank. There seems to be an increasing demand to use Bitcoin where gold used to be used to hedge dollar risk, inflation, and other things. Bitcoin has long been considered by supporters as digital gold due to its limited predictable supply and use case as a store of value outside of banking influence. While Bitcoin has gained 144% this year, gold is only up 22%. By the way, I say only because in contrast to Bitcoin, it's not that big of a deal. But in the context of gold, gold has gone on one of the largest rallies this year that it has ever gone on, which speaks to the fundamentals of our global economy. We're going to be getting to that in a second, though. Both assets seem to have benefited from the inflation-boosting monetary and fiscal policies launched by central banks and governments across the globe to contain the economic fallout from the virus pandemic. And something I want to mention in passing here is that even though there has been a lot of inflation causing monetary policy in 2020, if you dig into the actual economics of the money printing, or if you want to be more specific, the bonds market, the stock market, the real estate market, all of the different bubbles, the debt that countries are taking on, if you want to dig into all of that, what you're going to find is a lot of the inflation that's happened to the US dollar and to the fiat currencies around the world has not actually kicked in yet. We're actually likely to be still going through a period of deflation in the US dollar and other fiat currencies for another 6 months or so before inflation really starts kicking in, because it takes time for the economy to catch up. It takes time for ripples to move throughout the entire economy. We're talking about very, very, very complex systems here. Economies are not simple things. And because of that, disruptions in economies take time to propagate. They can move very quickly, but they can also move very slowly when they're more subverse in a concept such as inflation. Ask me in the comment section to do a video on that, a dedicated video on that, and I will gladly do so. It's a really interesting topic, talking about how money printing can actually cause deflation before inflation. The point I'm making here is that we really haven't even seen the inflation of the US dollar and other fiat currencies around the world start. It hasn't even really begun yet. The monetary policy that will kick it off has begun, and a lot of it's already been done. It just hasn't taken effect yet. When it does, what we've seen happen to the Bitcoin market and the gold market so far is going to look like pittance compared to what the inflation of those currencies will do to these two commodities. Stay tuned for that and keep investing in Bitcoin, because it is going to cause massive inflows on Bitcoin. Guys, the fundamentals on Bitcoin look incredible right now. Let's move on to another one. A survey of more than 700 high net worth individuals, or HNWs, has found that almost 3/4 of millionaire respondents either own or are looking to invest in cryptocurrencies before the end of 2022. Now, one of the problems I have with a statistic like this is that just saying that you're surveying millionaires is not actually specific enough, because there are multiple different kinds of millionaires. You have millionaires who are also billionaires, so some of those could be billionaires. You also have investment bankers, but you also have doctors and nurses. There's a lot of diversity in there, which kind of dilutes the value of this statistic, because I'm not quite sure whether they're talking about people that have been investing diligently for the last 45 years and they retired and they're millionaires because of that, or if we're talking about businessmen. Those are the people I really want to talk to. I want to talk to the entrepreneurs and hear what they have to say, not just the people that have been investing in the stock market and seeing 8 to 10% returns year over year, and that's how they became a millionaire. So even though I'm not the biggest fan of the statistic, the fact that it's 73%, the fact that it's anything above like 5% is really big news for Bitcoin. I can't stress to you guys enough how infant this space is. People think that the internet is such a new thing. The internet was created as ARPANET in 1969 with 3 connections. The internet is over 50 years old, and to be honest with you, Wi-Fi still sucks. We're still working on it. The internet, I'm taking this from a friend of mine who's in networking, is still in an experimental development phase, and it has impacted almost every single human being on this planet. Bitcoin is not in the 2020 era of internet. Bitcoin is in the 1985, the 1990 era of internet, and guess what happened in 92, 93, 94 when the internet started getting big? The tech companies who were invested in it went to the moon in market value, and the people invested in Bitcoin now, because this is 1985 for the internet, are going to experience that boom over the next 5 years as Bitcoin becomes mass adopted. It is going to take time. The internet was not mass adopted in the 90s. It wasn't even fully mass adopted in the 2000s, but come the 2010s, it most certainly was. And if you're in Bitcoin today, you are going to reap the same rewards that those who invested in internet stock in the 90s did to this day. So I ask you the question, with these fundamentals so clearly laid out before you, what are you going to do? Are you going to invest in Bitcoin, or are you not going to? Are you going to take your investments in Bitcoin and sell them right now because we're really high, hoping for us to pull back to $15,000 because you're such a smart trader, you're such a smart investor that you can make an extra 15, 20% by selling the high and then buying back in lower on an investment portfolio rather than a trading? Guys, I would encourage you, number one, not to try and time the market. Remember what we always say, time in the market beats timing the market. There's only a G of difference, but it can result in many hundreds of G's of difference if you mess up. Bitcoin is coming. I've been here for 3.5 years, and I have never in my entire time in the cryptocurrency space seen anything like what we're seeing happen today. And that is that in the middle of an election season, in the middle of the pandemic of the century, we are still seeing mainstream media turn and talk about Bitcoin. The media had nothing to talk about at the end of 2017. That's why they were talking about Bitcoin. Right now, even though the media is talking about Bitcoin, we see less people inflowing into Bitcoin than we did at the top of 2017. We see less news coverage than we did at the top of 2017. But at the same time, we saw Bitcoin hit an all-time high for market capitalization not long ago, just a couple of days ago. We see Bitcoin almost back to $20,000, and the external world has barely even dipped its toe back into Bitcoin in even the way we did in 2017. And the next time the media and the rest of the world gets involved, it's going to be an order of magnitude bigger than it was at the end of 2017, and we're already back here. Where do you think we can go? I'm going to ask you. I'm not going to tell you where I think we're going to go. I've already made it clear in many videos. I'm just not going to say it for poetic effect. Tell me in the comment section down below, where do you think Bitcoin is going to go? Do you think it's going to go to 20,000, 50,000, 100,000? 200,000, a million? I'd like to hear your take. And also tell us how long you think it's going to take to get there, because you can have different predictions based on different time frames. Guys, I hope you did enjoy today's video, and I want to encourage you, if you are newer to cryptocurrency, or even if you're not, the way that you will become successful in cryptocurrency. I was explaining this to a friend of mine last night who was interested in what we do here. The way that you become an expert in cryptocurrency is by doing one thing. It's by learning. And the way that you learn is not by forcing yourself to learn. You have to make yourself love learning. You have to learn to love to learn. If you can learn to love to learn, then the world is at your fingertips. I know a lot about many different topics. Is how I'm able to run this business and this YouTube channel. The way I did that is because I just love learning. I can look at how these masks are developed, and I can look at that and just study it for an hour and be like, wow, that's so cool how they press that together and it works. I love to learn. If you love to learn, you will be successful in cryptocurrency. You just need a way to do it. And that is why we created the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. Guys, CT2A is the one-stop shop to learn everything you need to know about technical analysis and trading in cryptocurrency markets so that you can actually profit in these. Guys, I am so serious. It is very important that you invest in your education. That's why we created this course. We have 36 videos and over 12 hours of high-quality content here to teach you everything you need to know about technical analysis. Everything from math psychology to your intuition to market structure to bull and bear markets, how to plan and execute profitable trades, the fact that the market is a game of statistics and probabilities, that the market is not about predicting the future with 100% certainty. It's about assigning probabilities to the possibilities. There are a lot of misconceptions that people have about trading and how it works, and CT2A is designed to nullify those. We have had thousands of students go through CT2A. In fact, on yesterday's premiere, I asked, do we have any CT2A alumni here? Press 1 in the chat if you are one of them. We saw 1. We just saw tons of ones because we have so many people that have gone through the academy who attest to it, who say it works. If you've gone through CT2A, tell people in the comment section down below your honest opinion. Do you think it's a good investment? Are you glad that you invested in it? Are you glad that you invested in your education? We'd like to know. Guys, we're so incredibly excited every time we get a message from someone saying that they have invested in their education and they have changed their life through their understanding of trading, and that, at the end of the day, is why we're here, because I have seen my life completely change because I invested in financial literacy and because I invested in my education about Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and entrepreneurship, and I want to teach you guys that. So if you're interested, use the coupon code BULLRUN2020 to get $40 off at checkout and get started educating yourself on cryptocurrency today. I guarantee you, even if you think you already know how to work in crypto, or even if you're already profitable, it's always a good idea to refine your education. But guys, that is pretty much going to wrap it out for today's video. If you did enjoy today's video, I need you to hit that subscribe button. I know there are a lot of new people watching these videos. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. You're family here to us. We want you to hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 75K subs by the end of the year. And guys, I just want to announce that we have some really awesome things dropping in the next month or two. I'm not going to tell you exactly what they are yet, but they're coming very soon. In fact, there is a launch coming up in early December, and I cannot wait to show you guys. So subscribe and hit the post notification bell so you'll be updated about that. But anyway, guys, that is going to wrap it out for today's video. Before I go, though, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.